Greetings, YouTube. There is an epidemic rushing across America at the moment, and it involves opiates. Drugs derived, at least in theory, from the opium itself, or artificial compounds thereof, which are in the same category as opium. And one of the reasons, of course, that we have so much opium available in the market today is because that we've allowed the opium producers to flourish so thoroughly in Afghanistan. There's bumper crops nowadays, folks, and a lot of that is due to the completely and utterly failed foreign policies put forth by America. Yay, red, white, and blue. And because of this, because this drug heroin is becoming much more common, and opiate addiction to other things like OxyContin and the whole school of medications that required there. I had to show my ID and have it recorded to get some pain medication when I had some oral surgery done recently. In fact, I'm stuck at the stitches inside my mouth. I am, I took like 6, I think, of them over the course of 3 days, and then I stopped using them. What's left I will probably find a use for in the near future. There are days when, sometimes you're in a lot of pain, and having an opiate around, to my mind, is helpful. But then again, I'm not an addict. And they've looked at some of the studies that why people become addicts. And addiction seems to be related directly to our connections to ourselves, our communities, and our families, and our friends. So if you have strong connections to your family, your friends, and your community, there's pretty much a 0% chance you'll become an addict. Whether you're a rat or a human, good social connections almost guarantee that you will not become an addict. So when people don't have those for one reason or other, they become susceptible to addiction. And heroin and the school of drugs that it belongs to has become the go-to drug as in the last couple of years. Thankfully, they've recently introduced a new drug whose name escapes me at the moment, which will allow a person that is undergoing an overdose with this of heroin or something like that to be saved. So cops are carrying it now, and if you give a dose of this drug to someone who's in like a heroin OD, you can just literally, boom, they're awake 10 minutes later. So they're able to save people's lives much more readily nowadays, and that drug is actually available to pretty much anyone if you are willing to jump through the hoops, which is another problem. But, that's a different video, I guess. But I think what's really interesting about this is how the people are asking the law to look at addiction. Because now that heroin is becoming a more endemic problem across the social classes, suddenly it's not, whoa, let's not, be so instantly go to jail for the rest of their life thing. Maybe we want to step back and maybe give people a second chance. And those people that are saying that are, not surprisingly, white. I'm going to give you a little quote in here. It says, this is, as heroin use by whites soars, parents urge gentler drug war. Noting that junkies is a word we would never use now. He said that these days, they're working right next to you. You don't even know it. They're in my daughter's bedroom. They are my daughter. So now that this ugly chicken has come home to roost, suddenly a whole lot of white people are like, well, maybe we don't want to be as harsh with our drug laws as we have in the past. I.e., when it just applied to black people, we were okay to send you to prison for being an addict. But now maybe we want to be a little gentler. Yeah. It's amazing how people change their policies when suddenly it affects them. Now, I have a slightly different stance on this whole process. I don't think that we should put anyone in prison for drugs. And in fact, I think we should take every single person that is in prison right now for a non-violent drug offense and let them go. All of them. Let them go. Because I don't think they should have ever been in prison to begin with. I would legalize marijuana and make it taxable. Though, I personally would probably go further than that and make it you have the same types of laws that we have for alcohol, which means you can produce alcohol in your home under a certain quantity and have it be legal. So you can brew your own wine or your own cider. Or I even knew someone who used to make Applejack. Apparently it was very good. Very strong, very potent. And you can do it up to a certain amount, beer and things like that, without having to worry about paying additional taxes, things like that, because you're not a producer, you're just making it for your own personal use. And I would allow that for marijuana. You have X number of plants like say 6. You can have 6 plants on your property, and then go for it. We don't need to worry about the law. That's what I would do for marijuana. But I understand that people like the idea of taxing it because it makes more revenue, and people seem to love applying restrictions on other people for no apparent reason. So I would make marijuana legal and taxable, and I would decriminalize everything else. Everything else. Heroin, crack, cocaine, all the designer drugs, everything. And I would start treating drug addiction as a medical, not a criminal problem. Because that's what it is. It is a medical problem. Now, if a person commits a crime to acquire drugs, then you prosecute them for the crime they committed. Why they committed the crime is immaterial. If they broke into a car and stole someone's stuff, you arrest them for breaking into a car and stealing someone's stuff. The fact that they were going to take that stuff and sell it to get drugs doesn't matter. They committed a crime. You don't have to tack on drug use on top of that. They're going to suffer already when they get to prison. But we don't want to do that. We prefer to punish people simply because they have become an addict. And white folks now are realizing that maybe that policy isn't the best in the world, which is good. I just take it further and decriminalize everything and then let people be treated medically instead of criminally. And we take all the money that we're currently spending on criminal prosecution of drug addiction, and we take half of it and we put it towards medical help for people who are drug addicts. And the other half, we take and we start paying down the debt. Think how much money we would help towards the debt if we stopped that. We could get rid of the DEA. Gone. We could close down jails because there won't be any more need for them. We can close down all the for-profit jails. Just get rid of those completely. We could get rid of all kinds of funding for police because it won't be necessary anymore. We can start putting that into helping people in the community as opposed to sending them to prison because they have a chemical addiction. I know. I'm a radical socialist. So, I do still find it interesting that now that white people are being affected by these laws, suddenly they are asking for a kinder and gentler world. But when it was just affecting black people, or brown people, or people of color in general, then it was okay to send them to prison forever because they have an addiction. Funny how that works.